In this video, I share 3 steps that you need to take in order to strengthen yourself to prepare for what is sometimes inevitable, and that is when the narcissist hoovers, when they come back around again, pretending to be sweet and giving you everything you want to suck you back into the abuse cycle once again. I don't want you to go down that path, so I'm sharing 3 of my best tips here with you right now. So the first tip I have for you is to understand the trauma bond. And if you have not heard about the trauma bond before, I'm going to link to a video in the description where I talk all about it and what it means for you. And it can be really helpful to understand the ins and outs of how it works, to truly solidify that this is not your fault, the way you're feeling, the way you are longing for someone who has been so awful and so hurtful to you. It is not your fault. So if you're there and you're feeling weak, it doesn't mean that you're weak. The trauma bond creates something that's kind of like an addiction. And so when you're feeling those feelings, it doesn't mean that you have some sort of soul connection or that you're a twin flame. A lot of people assign that sort of meaning to the feelings that they feel when they're in a trauma bond because it doesn't make sense any other way. And that's why it's so important to learn about this and what it does, how it works in the brain, and keeps you going back to someone who's hurt you. So don't make the mistake of thinking that just because you still want this person after they've done all these terrible things, that there's something deeper going on here. If someone has been abusive to you, regardless of whether you even still think that this is a twin flame or a soul connection, this relationship is not the right relationship for you right now. No one is meant to deal with that type of abuse. The next tip I have for you is to start keeping a record of all the lies, the gaslighting, and the bad feelings. And this is something that you may have been doing already, and if you have, you're ahead of the game. So just keep it as a running tally, and anything that comes to mind, write it down. Because this is something that you can go back to when you're feeling weak. So if that person reaches out to you and you start getting lost in that cycle of rumination, I wonder what they want, I wonder what they're gonna say, I wonder if they're finally gonna give me closure, you can go back to that notebook and you can remind yourself that this is not somebody who is trustworthy. It is certainly not someone to trust with your emotions when you're in a delicate state. So the next tip I have for you is a little bit of homework, and that is to anticipate what the narcissist will say when they come back. And the reason for this is not to ruminate, it is to be ready. So I have a video on things that narcissists say when they hoover, and I will link to that in the card and the description. I suggest you watch that video. There are 10 things to take note of, and think about which ones the narcissist in your life might be likely to use. And maybe it's all of them, sometimes it is. And so when they come back with these things, it's not going to catch you off guard. You're going to be aware and you're going to know exactly what it is. You're going to see the attempt for exactly what it is. These people are very predictable and they operate in such similar ways. So when a narcissist is hoovering and trying to suck you back into the cycle of drama and abuse, they're really going to pull out all the stops to make you feel special. In whatever way it is, even if it's drama. They're gonna try and make you feel like, oh, there wouldn't be such drama if I didn't love you so much, if you weren't so important to me. So go ahead and watch that video so that when the narcissist comes back around again and starts feeding you the same lines that every narcissist feeds every target, you can see through the nonsense and know that you are actually not special to the narcissist. You're absolutely special, but not to the narcissist. The only person who is special to the narcissist is the narcissist. So the next tip I have for you is to gather facts to destroy the narcissist's excuses. Now, if a narcissist does get a foot in the door, they're going to come back with all these excuses because you're not going to let them off scot-free, right? You're going to ask them, well, if I was so important to you, why would you do X, Y, Z? Why would you have discarded me so brutally? It doesn't make sense. The stuff you're saying doesn't add up. And unfortunately, if you know a narcissist, you know that they can be really good at smoothing things over and talking their way out of bad behavior. Like, you are my soulmate, or we have such a strong connection, I just can't help but keep coming back to you. Or yes, I left you for someone else, but I had to let them go because they just weren't you. Gather all the facts you have to counter that, to understand that it is complete and utter BS. So for example, If this is not their first Hoover, this is not your first cycle going through this. So for them to come back saying that, it's always been you, or you're the most important person to them, you're their soulmate, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Because even if you believe that someone could make a mistake and let go of somebody who's really important and then realize how important that person is, do you really believe that it can happen twice or 3 times or 4 times? And on some level, you might believe it because you understand that nothing about this person makes sense. So why would this make sense? Why should this be any different than anything else? Another type of fact that can help you is things that you know that they've done immediately after discarding you. So if they've done something to burn bridges to the ground and they have the audacity to come back in your face and tell you that they didn't mean it, they just made a mistake. If they're doing anything that somebody would do when they absolutely never want to talk to a person again, write all those things down. If they've done those things to you, write them down. Because when you look at all of those things, you're looking at somebody who has zero intention of coming back. And that's what happens a lot of times when a narcissist discards. They have zero intention of coming back in that moment. And that's why they burn those bridges to the ground, because they're so filled with animosity and bad feelings and they think you deserve all this bad treatment. But then as time goes on, they realize that they're not getting something from you that they want or that they need. And understand that if it's love, it is only your love that they are taking. There is no love that they're returning. If someone has treated you this badly, and they keep coming back around for more, it's not because they love you so much. It is because they miss the way you love them. And you deserve so much better than that. So the next tip I have for you is to create a 6-month plan and stick to it. A lot of narcissists go through a 6-month cycle. Now, for some, it could be longer, it could be shorter. So if you happen to know the narcissist cycle that you're dealing with, if you happen to know how long it lasts, that can help you here. So if they go on 8-month cycles, typically, go ahead and create an 8-month plan for yourself. This is so important because your time is important. Let's just go back to the 6-month cycle. Think about what you could accomplish in 6 months. You could learn a new language. You can get the body of your dreams. You can go back to school and start working towards something that you've always wanted. Or maybe go after the career, start a business. There are so many things that you can do that if you actually put an effort towards them every single day for 6 months, that you will be in a wildly different place than you are now. And it will be worlds apart from the you that you'll be if you take the narcissist back. So those are 2 contrasts there. Now let's imagine for a moment a scenario where you decide to go ahead and start that cycle. Maybe it'll be different this time. Where do you think you'll be in 6 months from now? I can tell you that there's a really good chance that if this person goes through 6 months, maybe it's 8 months, maybe it's 10 months, whatever it is, when that time is up, you will be nearing the end of that next cycle. So looking at you, future you, 6 months from now, you're going to be feeling even worse than you do today, because it's going to be yet another discard. Or you could make a plan, stick to it, and you can actually accomplish some things at the end of this cycle. So when you take a narcissist back, you may feel like you're not hurting anyone but yourself. But please remember that your time is valuable and you don't get it back. So think about who you want to be. Think about where you want to be and how you might get there. I can guarantee you it is not with any narcissist. So in this video today, I'm giving you a little bit of homework. Go ahead and watch that video on trauma bonding, the other video on hoovering attempts, because it can really help secure your position. And third, I'm going to suggest that you watch this video that explains why the narcissist keeps coming back around. And the truth of the matter is probably going to be very surprising to you. And I'll see you next time.